Whoa, hey there, ladies and germs. Sorry to come in such dramatic fashion. I'm kind of on the lam. I'm trying to lie low because anyone who's been keeping up with my content lately knows that in my last episode, I quite passive-aggressively shat all over somebody's pussy book club or something, and they have this rule where you're not supposed to do that. And now I'm in the middle of facing the consequences, whatever those are. I'm scared. I'm quite frightened for my life. Oh no! Oh god, they have found me. I better use some pretty epically tweened dodge maneuvers to avoid harm. You can't hit what you can't hit. Oh, Jackie Chan wishes he could come up with that kind of one-liner. Okay, I think they're out of ammo, but while they're reloading, I can take this time to come back to the material world. I can leave this abstract manner of existence where I'm just a two-dimensional figure floating about in our current reality. If I am of flesh and blood and bone, I might be able to avoid getting hit by their bullets. Here we go, transforming now. Hey. I need some fucking caffeine. So here's a fun little story. When I was in college, I took an Italian course. I barely passed. It was at that point where I was pretty transparently done with school in general. With that particular class, I missed the first one and was obnoxiously late to the second one. And I recall my teacher asking me how I was doing and what my name was. The first thing out of my caffeine-deprived brain was, do I need to answer in Italian? Can I answer in English? What a precedent to set. Anyway, the moral of that story is, I don't know what lavazza means from Torino, Italia. Perfetto. I'm willing to bet money that it means perfect. Anyway, it's dark roast, so it's probably gonna be good. Here we go. This is a little game I like to play. I like to activate the brewing process. Hi, kitty. And then I go into the refrigerator, grab the half and half, and before it's done pouring all the way, I dump it in as to stir it in a more artisanal fashion. Success. And this little cutaway, ladies and gentlemen, is why I need to drink this stuff in the first place. Fuck me, dude. If you'd have told 10-year-old me that nothing would get me more stoked than a cup of coffee after a long, exhausting sleep to noon, he'd probably be like, yeah, I'd buy that. A lot can change over the course of a decade and a half. So those of you who are familiar with these dungeon vlogs, as I now call them, this is a different location than I've done any of them. Have you moved, Lanooski? Have you finally manned up and gotten your own space? Not quite. Ordinarily, I shoot in the family office, or the family basement, or sometimes the family living room, which is the room where your family does living. But this is my own dang old space, recently refreshed and revamped by myself and mi madre. Mostly mi madre. I'm very thankful to mi madre because for years and years we've been saying, this room sucks and is a mess. You have too many things and it's probably time to move on from the twin mattress setup you've had since you were 12. But because I'm a sad boy, a lethargic boy, a boy who's easily overwhelmed and puts things off because they cause too much in-the-moment stress, which is why I'm on this shit now. She gave me a big ol' madre hand to make this happen, and it's cool. I can walk around in it, got some new furniture in here, packed away a lot of my books. I have fewer clothes than I did, and generally it's just, it feels like my room. It feels like the place that I want to be at most times, and I haven't felt that in quite a while. And when you do things like me that involve a lot of technical work and needing to be in your own personal bubble, it helps. Step 2 would be house. Let's get Lanooski a house. Let's talk about work, because that's semi-related to whether or not Lanooski can get a house. Myself, Frantic Prayer, and Wobbles, who you may know for various collabs and in-person overlap in our content, we were looking for places. My last vlog that I did showed a lot of promise. It's like, hey, 2020, let's make this our year. Yeah, we're all making money. We've all got jobs. We've all got hobbies that we love. We've all got friends and well-wishers that we've met online. This is our year. We're going to make shit happen. And then, as covered in the now classic vintage Lanooski upload, everything's fine. COVID happened. My work season was heavily compromised, but towards the end of the first few months, it started to sound like, oh, we might actually have some work after all. It sounds like we're going to have some reasonably social distanced concerts where about 10 to 20% of our usual maximum capacity will be the new maximum so people don't get sick. And that was the plan. And then it no longer was the plan because, I don't know, people don't know how masks work. People will just huddle around each other at beaches and pretend like they haven't known about germs since kindergarten. Or they'll go back to work without doing any major changes to interaction. Or they'll be a teenager who has no choice but to listen to what their parents in the state tell them to do. So they pack them like sardines into a public school where people may or may not be wearing masks. Sorry, guys. Ooh, no need to get political on my innocent little YouTube channel. That's tacky. I come to Lanooski for fun and memes, but then he starts getting all political. Sorry. Won't happen again. Scout's honor.
I dropped out at Weeblos. If you think I'm a fucking scout, then you're sadly mistaken.
So, all this to say, I'm gonna be making content again, because what other choice do I have in this, the year of our Lord, 2020 AD? The A stands for ass. The D stands for dicks. No matter how many more diseases or earthquakes or continental fires or meteorites get sent our way, this is gonna be the year of Lanooski. As I said in that vlog, we're gonna fucking make shit happen. This is gonna be our year. Maybe. I'm currently working on my next video, which has been in the works off and on for like months now. I've had the audio since March, which is funny. That Q&A stuff was that was recorded right before I had recorded that, like the same night. I've been sitting on the same material for the same content for a majority of the year so far. The coming weeks are going to involve finding a new grind, a new rhythm, where I can do stuff like that, but not necessarily be unable to upload. Finding that sort of flow, especially when this is just a thing that you do sometimes for the most part, can be really, really tricky. But now that, again, I have no other fucking choice, I'll get better at this. Hopefully, maybe. And part of maintaining that flow could very well include making videos such as the one that you're watching right now. I'm really proud of the style that has become the bread and butter of the channel. Those full visual edits where I'm able to like bounce around and shit. It gives you a bit more refined of a version of the personality I've managed to hammer out over the last few years. I'm not as stiff. I'm not as scared in front of the camera. And I don't know what this says about me, but just holding a thing, like a microphone, just like having a long, vaguely cylindrical thing in my hand to just like wiggle around my face and mouth, it really does something for me. Makes things easier. So with these various means, at this desk, with this setup, I could maybe start cranking out something weekly, or maybe at first, at the very least, bi-weekly. that's like fun, loose, dictated by bullet points rather than, you know, slightly longer bullet points that are to be harvested and crafted into full-on video essays. So yeah, that's the meat of the update part. That's the state of the NOOSK. New video on the way. When I shoot things like this, I want to also have like another point to touch on, just so you get more bang for your buck. I would like to bring everyone's attention to a Kickstarter project that I recently backed because I firmly believe in the product. The word lo-fi has kind of a negative connotation to a lot of people these days because they're thinking about some effeminate figure sitting at a desk, drinking coffee, listening to music. Maybe there's a cat there or something. I'm really disappointed that the cat isn't in here for me to, like, unwittingly describe myself while describing the lo-fi cliche. Oh well, can't all be perfect. Lo-fi is short for low fidelity, which dates back as far as the ancient times when dinosaurs were walking around. I'm of course talking about the 1960s. I have a lot to say about a lot of people who fall under this umbrella, and maybe someday I can do that proper-like in a video series, but one step at a time. One of these figures, however, is a much lesser-known person in an already lesser-known subgenre of popular music. His name is Martin Newell. He formed a band called The Cleaners from Venus back in the late 70s, early 80s. He's just been one of the prototypical DIY dudes who makes the kind of music that he likes on his own goddamn accord, using 4-track recorders or whatever other means he could scrap up, and using his instruments in his home to make music that, at the very least, has found a cult following and has influenced a lot of pretty known people, including MGMT and Mac frickin' DeMarco. Those are some big names, right? Some names that you young chillins would know about more so than me, because I am a dinosaur, as I will no doubt say again in the very near future. But anyway, this Kickstarter is for a documentary about Mr. Martin Newell, his life, his process, and his own creative philosophies well into his, I don't want to say twilight years, because honestly, Mr. Newell strikes me as a guy who could live to be like 100 and something and still be more spry than I currently am. There's all kinds of cool perks, including vinyl reissues of the man's work, other various merch like hoodies and shirts with related branding on the front of it, as well as viewing links once the final product is, well, final. Please go check out this Kickstarter. It's a really cool idea. It's about halfway through the funding. Most of the material is already shot. It sounds like they have like 100+ hours of videos and interviews. And I think they said something about still needing to interview a few more key figures just to kind of beef out the documentary. But it sounds really cool. The trailer's really cool. And Martin Newell, as a motherfucker, is pretty cool. He very nearly lives up to the title of Greatest Living Englishman. Because I've come into contact with several Englishmen and vaguely know about other Englishmen, and based off of that, the standards are pretty low. It's just nice to see that Englishmen, especially Englishmen in top hats, don't automatically make you want to commit seppuku after hours and hours of editing. I'm not bitter, you're bitter.
This may not be how the song goes, but I just thought it was worth noting to all of you that I'm a jangling man.
Okay, that's for realsies all I have for you cats. Very special thanks to Mr. Biodegradable, my favorite smoke gremlin boy who is quite graciously editing this here video. If you need someone to edit their video, feel free to hit him up. His Twitter handle popped up at some point because he's an intuitive SOB who knows when to make shit like that happen. Oh, Bio, you adorable little scamp. You have the ability to teleport places. I'm going to use the rule of thirds to hypothetically let you teleport here. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Well, despite the very evident collapse of our very society that's depressing the absolute fuck out of me, I'm doing just fine, mate.
Oh, that's awesome, chap. Thanks once again for editing this for me.
It's always a pleasure, my friend.
Hey, do you think you could do me a quick favor before you go back to Australia, Lind, wherever you live?
For you, anything.
I'm gonna go get a suntan later, and my guitar calluses, they hurt when I put oil of any kind on them. So if you could just oil up my hairy Italian chest before I go outside, that'd be awesome.
Nice try. We both know you don't have the budget for me to animate that. How about instead you grab your guitar and serenade me with a lovely little ditty to play us out?